I will be letting my goddess. Yes, I said goddess, goddess. I'm gonna let my goddess main out for this one. Special art, activism, athleticism, AAA. Yours truly independent artist, athlete, and activist. Adrian Hannah Dragan. Born Adrian H. Dragan being reborn. With every step, every push up, every hug, every squat is yours truly. Androgynous pansexual founder of the dancing goddess. And the Dragon Kingdom. And the Dragon Kingdom is one with the goddess, dancing goddess empire. Under the sun, under the moon, under the stars on earth. For world peace, international justice, and global freedom. Securing, ensuring global freedom. Attaining harmony between civilization and nature is what the mission, general mission, vision, and philosophy is all about. And yours truly, Adrian Hannah Dragan, androgynous, pansexual, who died during COVID, being reborn with every push-up, every squat, every hawk, every song, every sun ray that hits my body, moonlight that gaze upon, star that I count, sunrise, sunset, midday, midnight sun, every food, every cup of coffee, which, the black bean from the red berry was made, created, and produced by the dance of the goddess with her brother the sun. As that dance of the goddess with the brother the sun, whose emblem you can see the background with the red dragon kingdom, dancing green goddess, who makes, produces all fruits, vegetables, and legumes, such as this black coffee bean and a little bit of what I put in this, my dinner, for $1.56 Canadian, so $1.56 Canadian estimated. Dinner tonight, a can of tuna, some crackers, a little bit of tiny piece of garlic, and a little half of a green, small, tiny green pepper. Yours truly, Eden Hannah Dragan, for world peace, international justice, global freedom. This special session, 8:35 p.m. EST. Drinking some coffee, black. Although I'm living in the worst financial crisis of my adult life with this COVID, is the one I love and call a sister, who's my friend, who's my teacher. To that trinity of being a sister, friend, teacher, as the fourth dimension, being my one and only financial sponsor, as a matter of fact. Got these best ever army pants that ever wore, and I wore them a lot already. Now they have some wear and tear on them. The best pants ever got, so I love them. And even this Spartan race, my sister, friend, teacher got me this. I wore it a lot. I marched a lot in this, danced a lot in this. It's also got some wear and tear. This I bought secondhand. My red hoodie, red being the official color of the Dragon Army, and of course yours truly's favorite color. I'm wearing green and red. A little bit of rainbow, the Phoenix People's Party, the anti-war, anti-poverty, anti-racism, universal love, universal revolutionary centrist party for world peace, international justice, and global security. I'm gonna do a special meditative art session, part of the I Declare Revolution, ongoing 40 days, which had began on Friday. So although living in the worst financial situation, I'm gonna be grateful instead of complaining. Could complain. But I'm grateful. My rent is paid, so they can't kick me out until November. Whether I like it or not, I can stay here until November, at least December 1st. My rent's paid. 1/3 of my phone bill is paid. My electricity bill is paid in full. So pay 3 bills: rent, phone, and electricity. Fourth dimension to that bill trinity. Got some food to last me survive for the night for sure. A few days, weeks, and possibly up to, if I extended everything that I got now, maybe a month. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful, although been through blood, sweat and tears, suffering, pain, depression, suicidal, name it yours truly, Adrian Hanna Dragan. Gonna work out with this. I'm grateful, got this barrel of water. It's gonna be right here, see? Take the water, full to the top. So this is 18 liters, which is about, it's not that it's about, it is. It's 40 pounds, although the barrel is about minimum 2 pounds, to of course a maximum of 10 pounds. So it's anywhere between 42 pounds and 50 pounds. I'm going to be working out, road to midnight. This 3-hour session is dedicated to the one I love and call sister, who's also my friend and oftentimes a teacher, who that Trinity adds a fourth dimension, my one and only financial sponsor, Anonymous, and to the mission of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragan Army, which are complementary, covenant, cooperative, of course, institutions, which I'm calling all willingly loving to join, support the creation thereof. This past November 5th, I've begun another 40-day new Rite. New 40-day Rite for purification, reordering of my room, office, and temple on the ground right here in this hot island, Montreal. Gonna be working out, training, exercising, dancing, rapping, ranting, philosophizing, reading, training the mind, body, and spirit. Keep on calling the goddess who dances with a bird, the son of many names, not to be uttered among men, sacred, get thunder on my head. The goddess, as I said, G-O-D-D-S-S, trees, mighty trees, even though 7 times bigger than my dragon ass size. Yeah. Goddess, G-O-D-D-S-S. I say it. I say God, 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 God. When they say God, 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 I say, and the God is, God is, God is, God is, God is. When they say God, 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 say, and the God is, God is, God is, God is, God is. When they say God, 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 I say, and the God is, God is, God is, God is. When they say God, 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 I say, and the God is, God is, God is, God is. The goddess, man, dances with the birth of the sun to make, create, and produce all fruits, vegetables, and legumes that our brothers and sisters, farmers, harvest, and that our leaders of the free world need go kiss their hands, wash their feet, and massage their body. That Trinity and the Adriana Dragon, androgynous pansexual founder of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Empire. The kingdom is one, non-sectarian, for all willingly loving, work for world peace, international justice, and attaining, securing global freedom and harmony between civilization and nature. That's what I'm willing to be for my allies, an army of service, for my brothers and sisters, farmers who harvest the fruits, for us to build, maintain, or upgrade civilization. To you. All the workers on the front lines, truckers, transporting, better wages, better services, the Dragon Army to be a service, and yours truly of a service. And that's what I'll do to the farmers, all willingly loving. Kiss hands, wash feet, massage the body. The body is a temple for pleasure and for purpose. Right? Not to be ashamed, but to understand it. The mind, body, and spirit to work together. The science with the irrational. As I've said, 2 + 2 = 4 indeed. But that doesn't mean that we cannot write 2 in green. The plus can write both black and white, one line in black, the other one in white, and the other 2 we can write it in red. And the equal sign, we can write top line black and the white, and white the other line of the equal sign. And the 4 we can write it in all the colors of the rainbow. So we got black, white in that equation. We got all the colors of the rainbow. I have to write it all in black, or all in red, all in green, all in white. We can write it all the colors of the rainbow. Yeah, simple. I'm a philosopher, a poet, a thinker. I'm not perfect, far from it. Maybe I got a few screws loose. Maybe I got a few screws loose. Maybe I got a few loose screws, man. I'm not perfect, far from it. I'm an independent artist, activist, and athlete. Yours truly, also universal spiritual teaching student, because I'm learning every day. As a matter of fact, train a little bit. So we're gonna train the mind, body, and spirit. This is part of the 40-day ritual purification and reordering of my room, office, and temple. To that trinity of temple, office, and room has served as a fourth dimension, being my gymnasium, where I've lost more than 77 pounds up to today, actually more than 80. Working out, training, exercising has been, is, and will be medicine and therapy for yours truly, as I believe it is so for many. I'm calling on the patriarchal sports leagues, the NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB, Major League Baseball, and European Soccer. I'm going to say patriarchal because they are patriarchal. I'm calling them to support, especially finance the youth. Finance the youth to work out, train, exercise, especially financially precarious youth. When the equipment sometimes the parents can't afford to put them in organized sports, it is too costly financially with the prices increasing. Myself living in the worst financial crises, and all the powers that be in the corporate world, leaders of the free world, independent artists, multimillionaire artists, rappers. I already got you a million, stop rapping like you're in the hood. God damn it. Also an underground rapper, got a hobby, been rapping since 1996. Everything that I do, write, rap for world peace first and foremost. What do I gotta do for world peace? For environmental harmony. Gotta wash feet, gotta kiss hands, gotta paint, gotta art, gotta dance. What do we gotta do? Even on a dragon calling all within beloved. Join the dancing goddess and the Dragan armies, officially international citizen integrated social security force, the Dragan army, complementary covenant cooperative with the international integrated dance league. Dancing goddess army, official color green for the dancing goddess army, red for the Dragan army. What do we gotta do? Right? Finance, world peace. Patriarchal Sports League, NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB. Since 1984, I've been making millions and millions of dollars. Right? Finance the youth to work out, train, exercise, mass finance it. Right? Support the dancing goddess. Your patriarchal sports leagues. There's not even one women's sports leagues that makes even close financially to what the aforementioned NBA, National Basketball Association, NHL, National Hockey League, MLB, Major League Baseball, NFL, National Football League. Sure, there are women individual athletes who make a little bit of money, and not that many, not that many, compared to the patriarchal sports leagues whose average salaries are in the millions. So I'm gonna be working out with this water bottle, water hole of the goddess rivers. This is minimum 42 pounds, 50 pounds. I'm gonna be working. It's a mission for the creation of the dancing goddess. Dancing goddess army, whose mission is both for pleasure and for purpose. Pleasure of dancing is I'm turning dance into the most powerful weapon on earth for world peace, international justice, global security, and securing and ensuring global freedom, attaining harmony between civilization and with nature. Dance, my favorite sport. Although I also keep challenging. I am, and will challenge Donald Trump to fight me in a boxing match. My sister friend teacher was fourth dimension to being a sister friend teacher. One and only financial sponsor at the moment. Got me the gloves, I'm grateful for that. So I got the gloves ready. Got very tiny gloves, which I'm gonna use. They're tiny, because I admit it. Got tiny hands, tiny feet, tiny clit dick, or a clitoris dick, androgynous shit. Admitting things, emotions, feelings matter. It's mathematics and logic, the subconscious, the irrational, right? So I'm still challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border for world peace. Fight me in a boxing match. I'm gonna use my tiny little gloves. I'm gonna give him the regular base size. I'm gonna do donation. Although he's silver spoon born, born with a silver spoon tycoon. Born with a silver spoon, tycoons. Born with a silver spoon, tycoons. What they know about the streets full hard work in the warehouse with the steel toe boots, bro. Born with steel toe boots, man. I know, silver born spoon, man. Shit. Shit. I don't even remember my fucking biological father. I never almost met him. Fuck. I got his surname. Ain't nobody born a dragon. Blood, sweat, and tears to turn my A into surname Dragon. Blood, sweat, and tears, thousands of push-ups, squats, hogs, millions of marching steps, steel-toe boots, running shoes, or barefoot. My room, office, and temple are outside in Hawkeye and Montreal, around the mountain, or as east, west, north, south, by the river, the mountain, the concrete jungle, to turn that A in my surname into a no. Motto of the Dragon Army is nobody is born a dragon, you become one. You can be an ally, support the citizens, but you gotta be able to do the general war, integrate whole body training system to be a member of the Dragon Army. All ALL orders given by yours truly, Dragon Zero, General Founding Captain to the Dragon Army must be obeyed. An order will be given but to secure food, housing, and transport for all. Encourage people to volunteer, work out, the community work, attain world peace, international justice, global freedom, and a little bit of joy, healing, local, national, and collective, worldwide for world peace, a new world order of world peace. Let's work out some more. Let's some more with this water. Oh yeah, I feel it. Minimum 42 pounds, minimum 50. I founded the Dragon Kingdom and the Dancing Goddess Empire. The Dancing Goddess, the Dragon Empire, one empire of the sun and stars on Earth. With a credit from the Goddess of Starlit Heaven, who sends one kiss to the Goddess, her sister, who dances with her brother, the sun, and that one kiss from the starlit heavens, the Goddess above, to the Goddess below, who dances with her brother, the sister. That one kiss turned into 93 trillions of kisses. George truly has founded the World Bank of Love, the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Empire, and to all my allies and armies, can make y'all millionaires. A million kisses from 93 trillion. A trillion has 12 zeros. 1 trillion is 1 million million. 1 trillion is 1,000 billion. A billion is 1,000 million. So 1 trillion has 12 zeros. A million has 6. A billion has 9. So that is a lot of kisses. That's living the worst financial crisis of my life. I'm blessed with those trillions of kisses. And from the eye of the dragon, the sun, millions and billions of push-ups, billions of squats, billions of hogs, trillions of marching steps. So to my allies and armies, in my name, Adrian Hanna Dragon, may be blessed with the aforementioned healing, health, wealth, wisdom, understanding, knowledge, to be able to dance, march, jog, cook, know, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. To the rest, keep my holy, sacred, and divine name out of your mouth. If it's not for a blessing, shh, 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 shh. Still challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border. Started doing those tariffs when he was imposing the tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel. Silver boom. So I'm gonna donate the gloves. I'm gonna box Donald Trump. I want yay, Kanye, yay, now yay, to sing these lyrics. You know, Dragon's fists gonna make Trumpo's nose grow like Pinocchio, yo. Bro, cut it out, you born tycoon with a silver spoon. I ain't wearing no warehouse work on with no wear boots, yo, steel toe boots, steel toe shoots, yep. I've been silver spoon born, cut it out, yo. I make Trumpo's nose grow like Pinocchio, man. Dragon's fist are gonna make Trumpo's nose grow like Pinocchio. Special edition, 40-day, new 40-day. New 40-day Rite began November 5th, Friday. Cleaning, purifying, reordering my room, office, and temple. Part of the I Declare Revolution for the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Empire, which are one empire under the sun and stars on earth. To attain world peace, international justice, and global freedom, securing, ensuring global freedom is the mission thereof. Today is a special one. I'm going to be doing some mind, body, and healing. Mind, body, and spirit. Spirit by being thankful, grateful. On the meditation, especially on the dance. The goddess with her bird, the sun, who makes by that dance all fruits, vegetables, legumes that are harvested by my brothers and sisters, farmers, somewhere locally, nationally, and internationally, for us to build, maintain, or upgrade civilization, or upgrade. Was a farmer in many past lives. In this life, although I've said it, I admit it, I am fucking useless. I was upset in the COVID. I don't have any farming experience. However, do have some years of participating in urban farming, so did till the ground, clean the soil, weeded, planted, watered. So all the farming work, chores and tasks, I did them, right? Holes in the... So I did all the work, farm, but at a more micro level than at a big farm. At urban farming, at a more, the plots, at the lots, the spaces where I farm are smaller, basically, because it's urban farming. But I did it all, and even I ate from the work, the farming work, urban farming work, which I did and I participated in. So I do have some, even in this life, not totally without any experience. So I have some. In other past lives, was a farmer by the Nile, not in denial. By the Nile in ancient Egypt, by the Euphrates in ancient Babylon, by the Danube in ancient Rome, and many other places, in many incarnations across nations, empires, and kingdoms in many lifetimes past. As a universal spiritual teaching student, don't know it all, but do have belief in reincarnation and incarnations. Other spiritual beliefs do as well. A universal spiritual teaching student, I'm learning. The goddess who dances with the bird, the sun who gets that one kiss from the star lit heaven above with the stars. That kiss. I turns, and is gifted, credited to me. Turns into 93 trillions of kisses. So to my allies and armies, make it an overtime. Kiss you overtime. Kiss you overtime. Kiss you all the time. Wash and rub and dance, count the leaves, trees. The trees are but the hairs on the goddess's body. I'm grateful here in Hawk Island, Montreal, that hydro built with ingenuity of the human mind, of the blood, sweat, and tears to build the dams. We got more than 63 dams throughout the province of Quebec. So all the electricity now that I'm using to record this recording, to that is lights, electricity, and I paid my bill November 1st. It was due November 4th, so 3 days in advance. I paid it all in full. So it's all clean energy, as the COP26 are doing there. Cooked for the leaders of the free world. How many of them they have to do their own groceries? Think they're struggling like me, or like many of millions of you, with the prices increasing in the past days, weeks, and months. Prices have been increasing. I'm among those suffering the most from it, because I'm living in the worst financial crisis of my life. I've been open for business for years since COVID. Had 3 temporary employments, but with placement agencies. It's a lot of abuse, a lot of things going on which are not just. I'm not perfect. I done wrong in my life. You can bet on that. Yeah, back. Maybe I deserve that. Maybe we deserve that. No, some of us more than others, right? Maybe we fucking deserve it, huh? Yeah. I'm not perfect. Far from it. Redemption. Everybody deserves second, third, fourth chances, depending on whatever XYZ the gravity. Gotta break the impasse, finding solutions that we gotta concern ourselves with. The Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Empire, which are one empire, have some ideas, some theories, some solutions. One of it, of course, is debt refusion theory. Right, but back before I come to that, I'm gonna digress a little bit, but first gonna work out some more. Work out with a swallow barrel of water. The upper body. The upper body. The upper body. I'm grateful, thankful. Energy's clean. Don't drive, don't own a car, so don't contribute to the CO2. I haven't owned a car in many years. Use public transit, metro, subway, that is, system, and bus. So public transit for me. On the feet. On these feet. Leaders of the COP26. What's been happening in the past days, weeks, and months? Prices increasing. The grocery store, who's suffering? The vast majority. What's happening to the middle class? What's happening to a lot of middle class? Since 2007, 2010 financial crisis is slowly disappearing. Read articles last week, a lot of articles on millennials. I'm a millennial myself. So fellow millennials to millennials, we gotta clean our room sometimes. I like to get dirty, I admit it. I like to get dirty, but get back clean. Take baths, showers, soap, water, open carrying, disinfectant. I go out of there. Hygiene. Hygiene in public. I encourage all to get vaccinated, get tested. Got 2 COVID Pfizer shots in the forehead. I got a goddess tattoo here on the forehead of the goddess. I've gotten the vaccine right here. I'm willing to get the 3rd jab. Will it be necessary? I don't know. Well, I do know was sick in the past days. I was still coughing a bit today. I'm getting better, so almost there, I guess, almost healed. But before mass testing was available, I had COVID back at the end of January 2020 until about February 20th or so. I was very sickle and disease. It was like death, pestilence. disease. I was very sick. Very sick. Thought I was gonna die. Many ways I did die. Adrian H. Dragonborn died during COVID. Personally, there's nothing that I want to go back to the way things were for me personally. I struggled, suffered, was lonely, depressed, suicidal. Right. Struggling, chronic illness, financial precariousness. I don't want to go back. I know even though many years of struggle I've made of effort and doing many years of struggle and suffering, made the libraries of the city of Montreal my second home, and many thousands of books, tens of thousands of books, my friends. As I was going in the library and renting books and read, right, and also wrote thousands of pages of poetry, of theory, of philosophy, of script ideas, even some comedy, some short stories, creative writing and philosophical writing and theoretical writing, some of it in here, some of it on paper, some of it in here is given, shared now, distributed in a compendium for the dancing goddess and the dragon empire, the universal revolutionary centrism, the democratic fusion, the debt refusion theory, and of course the citizen integration with civilization theory, meaning to combat alienation and to bring a balanced harmony to the growing specialization, which we have had for many decades now, which also has created democratic societies of alienation and fragmentation. And so putting these theories into practice, I believe I have some solutions. I need help. I'm willing to do. I'm struggling. Sometimes I'm moody. Stop throwing dirt, filth, poison in my eye, brother. I'm not perfect. Let's work out some more. What has been, is, and will be medicine for me in the past years. What has worked is working out, training, exercising, losing a lot of weight, getting fit. It helps me regulate my moodiness. It's like medicine and therapy. I believe the youth need to be mass financed. Our athletes since 1984 have been rewarded so. Our civilization's multi-millionaire athletes, I understand they want to go back, and artists want to go back to business. How things were before COVID, right? They made a good millionaires. Myself personally, there's nothing I want to go back to. Even here where I'm living is a bit better. Where I lived at another underground but smaller place, and not far from here in Côte des Neiges, CDN. Our linked NDG CDN in Montreal, Hawk Island. I don't want to go back to pre-COVID times. I want to move forward, break the impasse, do love, especially love and be loved. Makes me think of a phone call gotten a few weeks ago, past months already. Somebody called, didn't know who they called. It was random automatic calling, and said that they're doing a survey. So I said, well, you know who you called? I said, you called the World Bank of Love, and the person on the other line, on the other side of the phone, whatever he was calling for, said, no, I did not know that I've called an institution. I said, well, I said, you called an individual, a person, and an institution. An individual, a person, a human being that represents that institution. I said, this is the World Bank of Love. Are you looking for love? We asked. I said, no, not looking for love. I said, well, if you're not looking for love, I'm sorry, I don't think that we can continue having a conversation, a dialogue, or communicate any further if you're not looking for love. Now, if you're looking for love, you can say, I love you back, and maybe we can have a discussion on other topics related to society, art, sports, civilization, theory, politics, philosophy, spirituality, and the rest. The person laughed and said, okay, have a nice day. Love you. Have a nice day. So if he's watching this and you're not looking for love, man, well, I don't think that Dancing God is the Dragon Empire, the Dragon Kingdom, which is one with the Dancing Goddess Empire, is the place, or Adrian Hanna Dragon is the place to be my ally or army or supporter or lover thereof. But if you're looking for love, because I'm looking for love, I'm looking for extra love 24/7. Dreaming, walking, marching, loving, washing, cooking, buying, shopping, ranting, philosophizing, being moody, being joyous. Whether sunrise, sunset, midday, midnight, autumn, spring, summer, fall, winter. But I don't, the other person turning the other cheek is not me. I ask for vengeance 77-fold with interest, put it on 7 and with that on times 7. I don't owe nobody nothing, zero, none. I also accept my sister, who is a friend and a teacher to that Trinity as a fourth dimension, being my one and only financial sponsor. A little bit, I guess. And I do owe to the RBC Bank almost $10,000, and I'm in the red. Minus, so do owe some money to the RBC Bank. And besides that, yours truly, Eden Hannah Dragon, independent artist, activist, athlete, triple A, triple A, s'il vous plaît, androgynous pansexual founder of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Empire. Besides that, I don't owe nobody nothing. But I'm open for business, mainly, principally the business of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Empire. The Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Empire 1. Mainly, principally that business for world peace, international justice, global freedom, securing and ensuring global freedom, attaining harmony between civilization and with nature, is the main principal business of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Empire and armies thereof. Calling all willingly loving to be supporters, advocate, XYZ, join, comment, DM, and my official volunteer representative, only got one, OVR, Ratsiela Crow, Yellwork, Ratsiela Yellwork will comment, direct, instruct, or bless ye in my name, Adrian Hanna Dragon. I'm gonna do some reading, Gonna get more coffee. Just gonna work out some more. This barrel of water. Oh yeah. Before we proceed, continuing this special new 40-day rite, the leaders of COP26, are they gonna join the Dancing Goddess Army? Are gonna join it? Advocate for attaining harmony between civilization and nature by creating this international integrated dance league. Integrated now will be an all gender, all ages, all sexual orientation, all non-sectarian, all willingly loving to join it, support the mission of attaining harmony between civilization and nature. To join me, you don't have to adhere to my spiritual beliefs. Keep them keep the baggage at the door. Keep the baggage at the door. Keep the baggage at the door. You don't have to adhere to that. But in a non-sectarian way, to the principles for attaining world peace, international justice, and global freedom, securing and ensuring global freedom by the Dragan Army, officially international integrated citizen social security force, a true social security and service force integrated with all existing public and private security forces and armed forces, just like envisioned in my scenario, which of course began in October 2019, and I have discoursed and dialogue in the past many days, many weeks, months, from the midst of COVID, since I began it before COVID, and paradoxically, in a providential parallel way, it resembles the COVID-19 health and financial crises. What I'm referring to, of course, is the creation of my new training program, the General War Integrated Total Body Training System, designed, made, and created to go hand in hand with the World War III scenario, which I've created in 2019 as an independent student scholar of history, wars, geopolitics, and civilization, and had analyzed the world situation. And I'd come to the conclusion that we, humanity, are on a path to World War III by taking events such as transpired geopolitically, such as the US-China trade war, the arrest of Meng Wanzhou, aka Kathy Meng, and consequently the chief financial officer and daughter of Huawei, and of course Michael Spavor and Michael Kovig, the two Canadian nationals detained afterwards. Now last month they were exchanging an unadmitted, not openly publicly declared to be so quid pro quo in exchange. And now of course Kathy Meng has returned to China and the two Michaels are back in Canada. Now paradoxically, as a world peace advocate, still am perhaps I'm much of a dreamer. I have a dreamer, a nerdy heart, a nerdy mind, hopeful, but I'm also a realist about human nature, my own inner struggles and darkness and jealousies and resentments and the lower aspects of our emotions, of our feelings, the anger, these lower aspects of the self, which I admit they have been present within me to a degree, perhaps more intense than in many. I don't know percentage, whatever, but for XYZ reasons, whether it was the trauma lived and experiences, whatever XYZ growing up and up to this moment in time, November 8th, whatever, to learn it, to understand also my own character and nature, right? Just to come out as being bisexual, pansexual, which includes being bisexual, being an umbrella term. In this Halloween past, it was 7 years since I was out in the open as being LGBTQ. So many years. It took me more than 13.3 years to come out. So some are still in the closet. You don't think Colin Nassib is the only LGBTQ athlete in the NFL now? You can say that on each Sunday. Now Sunday, or it's Monday Night Football, 9:17 p.m. On each side now, there's this playing. There's one out of the 11, whether on the offense, on the defense. Out of those 11 and 11, there's one who's LGBTQ. I have no doubt about that. For XYZ reasons, financial, cultural, the culture, whatever. you know, the traditional masculinity, whatever have you, you know, all these which they create disruptions, all these new technologies, the internet, sexual liberation has not been for myself without tears and blood and sweat and tears and pain. It has not been for Canadians, for North American civilization, for the Western world, and for the world for that matter, right? Let's not kid ourselves, right? Right. Let's not kid ourselves. It's still a struggle for many, for XYZ reasons, right? Or to admit certain prejudices, that we have certain fears, right? 6'6", football player, tough motherfucker, run scared. Ah! What are you scared of? Says, look, 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 tiny spider. We have this part of irrational fear, subconscious, right? We have it. 6'6", hard to bring down. 250 pounds, 6'6", or 300 pounds, 358 pounds, 6.6. Starts running scared. Ah, little tiny spider. Right? It's part of us. The emotions, irrational, the feelings, they're matter, they're important. It's not just logic, mathematics that dictates our being or our life. Right? Let's work out some more. Oh, yeah. Oh, that felt good. Ah, that felt good. Already feel a bit better working out, training, ranting. My philosophizing, ranting, arting, athleticism, activism here for world peace. Goes to lead and hunt a dragon. There's nothing I want to go back to pre-COVID. I died during COVID, I didn't eat dragon. Forget it. Forget it. A lot of memory I've lost. Due to trauma being hit with a black sword, black sword, black sword. And my sword, how I envision it, sword of dancing goddess and the dragon, the phoenix people's bodies. Two-edged, because the sword of freedom is two-edged. One black side and one white, but together merged. I put two snakes and the handle I want a goddess with a lion, a hawk, about the hawk wings. So I envision it, and with the handle, the color, 7 colors, basically the rainbow, LGBTQ flag, right? I swore it. I envision it. Lost some memory. I remember some things. To the scientific miracle of I'm putting in effort and blood, sweat, and tears and doing it. The miracle, scientific miracle of neuroplasticity. I'm living proof. And acquired savant syndrome, acquiring new skills that I never thought I would have. I'm becoming the world's, I am now, say now, November 8th. I'm the world's greatest living millennial dancing rainbow poet. World's greatest living millennial rainbow dancing poet. The world's greatest living millennial rainbow dancing poet. Fundamentally, in essence. And then universal spiritual teacher and student, because I'm learning every day from the goddess, dance with the brother, the sun. Independent artist, activist, athlete, poet, philosopher, theorist. The 21st century universal revolutionary centrism. My theory that 21st century is incorporated in the Phoenix People's Party and the Dragon and the Dancing Goddess Empire. A non-sectarian way. We need public-private partnerships. That's what I'm calling for, to advocate to securing and ensuring freedom by securing and ensuring the 3 elements of civilization. Let's work out some more. Those 3 elements are food, housing, and transport. Once you have secured food, housing, and transport, this will be the main mission of the Dragan army, securing these three. Once we have secured those three, we can encourage people to work out, train, volunteer, do community work, ensure public hygiene in the public sphere, in the public domain, public hygiene, ensuring it, public hygiene, get dirty and dance and love, love, love. Encourage people, consent with consent, consent. Lots of loving, feet washing, kissing, massaging, hugging, get dirty, but get back clean, hygiene, royal, lofty, regal. Right? I love to get dirty too. Make it a 9 to 5 overtime work. Love. That I can do. So the general mission of the Dragan army will be, of course, to secure the three elements of essential elements of civilization. Once those three are secured, we can work in complementary cooperative covenant way with the dancing goddess army, of which there are two institutions to be absorbed and to be integrated with all existing public and private institutions and corporations, and public and private institutions, local, national, and internationally, for world peace, international justice, and global freedom, securing global freedom, ensuring global freedom, and attaining harmony between civilization and with nature. And of course, to secure the three: food, housing, and transport. Once you have those three secured, you can encourage people to volunteer, work out, do community work, participate in different programs, and of course fight against alienation and have more integration, putting my theory into practice of integrated civilizational citizen integration, meaning by the Dragan army and the dancing goddess army, to encourage people to volunteer, work out in elements, and learn about all sectors, whether of civilization, whether educational, security, political, and of course economic, environmental, and all the things that exist that makes this civilization go. Such as, for example, Hydro-Quebec, which have 1,000,001 questions to my brothers and sisters working with Hydro-Quebec, which I'm grateful that this is clean energy here and I'm using, and to download and upload and create this video now. It's clean energy from Mother Nature, the veins of the goddess, the rivers, which of course this holy water comes from. Speaking of holy, sacred, divine water, can work in hand with fire. Work out. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, felt good. 40-day Rite continues. This workout, ranting, philosophizing, reading Mind, Body, and Spirit Trinity. Mind, Body, and Spirit Trinity is dedicated thereof. Purifying, reordering my room, office, and temple. Reading this. $1.56 lunch. Let me get some more coffee. We're gonna start reading. Just want to wrap up a little bit of what I wanted to say. The dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, calling all willingly loving to support the mission, vision, and philosophy thereof. And of course, if you want to be a dragon, you don't have to. You can be an ally, supporters, but you got to be able to do the general war integrated total body training system, aka the 300 workout within the rules. I've created the workout, of course, back in October 2019 as an alarmed millennial citizen, world rainbow citizen, millennial world rainbow citizen. Alarm always transpiring in the world. I was saying that we are on a path to World War III, North America, Canada, Western world, humanity. And I've designed this workout, which is paradoxically, prophetically, in a parallel way, the scenario And the workout, they go hand in hand together, two sides to a coin, and to a coin, like two sides to a coin. And they're parallel timeline of the scenario, not so distant future, and now they're slowly beginning to merge in the ongoing. I've performed 213 sessions indoors in my room, office, and temple. 213. And now I'm doing them. I've been doing them, and will continue until weather permits to do them roundabout Hawk Island, whether in close by the river, by the forests, by the mountains, on the mountain with rocks, cement, or tree logs, concrete made or made by human beings, XYZ. I'm doing part of it now with this bottle of water. So the rules that you must do, and this applies of course to everybody who wills to join the Dragan army, and I'm calling just like in my scenario. So I'm going to give an introduction briefly of my scenario and the workout. So the workout goes hand in hand with the scenario, and was created in 2019 after I had analyzed the situation globally, and I've said we are on the path to World War III. So created a general war integrated total body training system, aka the 300 workout, designed, made, and created to go hand in hand with the aforementioned World War III scenario. What causes World War III in my scenario is a global stock market crash, which subsequently triggers a global financial collapse, and thus triggers World War III by many nations across the world blaming the US Trump administration beginning the trade war with China and other policies, and blames it on the US trade administration, specifically on Trump's administration. And the US-China trade war is the major event that triggers the global financial collapse, and that begins World War III. This was the fictitious scenario. 93 days later, and keep in mind that the first session which I've performed of the General War Integrated Total Body Training System was in October 17, 2019, right? And so that was the workout and the scenario, and 93 days later, as was doing, and I have proof, I've documented my fitness journey, my philosophy, my coffee with dragons, my art, my activism, my athleticism for the many past years, and doing unedited, was like going live unedited videos, not editing my videos, raw, real, revolutionary. It's not the best quality of the video, but mostly the philosophy, the art, doing that's more important, and the more superficial the quality of the video. But if you have solutions, just speak, write, and official volunteer representative Rite work will propose. Otherwise it's just woof woof woof. So General War Integrated Total Body Training System, aka the 300 workout, October 2019 was the first session that yours truly had performed, and had performed it, created it to go hand in hand with the scenario. And 93 days later, COVID begins, the COVID health and financial crises. Now I said my trinity on COVID has been, is, and will be this. First and foremost, do not know for sure what has caused COVID. Second, believe in the zoonotic transmission from snakes to human beings. Zoonotic, Z-O-O-N-I-T-I-C. Please spell zoonotic transmission, meaning that it origins of the virus lay in animals, in not flora but fauna. So animals, living creatures like rats, bats, snakes. I believe it was snakes. I don't know for sure. I believe it was snakes. Since I don't know for sure, and my belief is now 100% confirmed, cannot rule out another possibility. To that trinity, not knowing for sure, believing it was snakes, and cannot rule out another possibility due to having a doubt. Whatever possibility, XYZ being a man-made lab accident, an experiment gone wrong, or bioweapon. What I do know, a fourth dimension to that trinity, is what I do know without any doubt. 100% is that before COVID, 93 days, alarm at what's going on in the world, had created the General War Integrated Total Body Training System, aka the 300 workout, to go hand in hand with the World War III scenario that eerily resembles the COVID-19 health and financial crises. And since it resembles it, that's what I began advocating for. The creation, just like in my scenario, had the devastation and destruction from the economic, financial, commercial, and social civilizational World War III side. It also had the solution. And the solution, since July 24th, 2020, had began advocating for it. The creation of the International Citizen Integrated Social Security Force, aka the Dragan Army, just like envisioned in my scenario, for mobilizing 1% of the citizens of NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization member countries, calling Israel, the state of Israel, to become the 31st member NATO countries, NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and mobilize 1% of citizenry, create this new institution, the Dragan Army, to be absorbed, integrated with all existing private and public security forces, and to make sure those three essential elements are secured for all: food, housing, and transport. Once those three essential elements are secured, we can encourage people to work out, volunteer, do community work, and we'll be ready as a whole for the COVID mutates, for the next pandemic, if so the need be. So creating that new institutions, international citizen integrated social security force, to go hand in hand with the aforementioned, and to secure food, secure housing, secure transport, and create a new public-private partnership in a complementary cooperative way, a covenant way with the International Integrated Dance League, aka the Dancing Goddess Army, to attain harmony between civilization and nature, and of course to have pleasure and joy while dancing. So these two institutions, how? By putting my theory of debt refusion theory into practice, which I've written in the past years, and now I'm giving as a summary compendium. Basically, debt refusion theory, taking all existing public and private debt. If the private debt is represented by X, if I'm X1 or X2, and there's hundreds of thousands, millions, hundreds of millions of X's, taking all the X's together, multiplying the X's, and if the Y represents the public debt, such as Y1 Canada, Y2 United States of America, Y3 Germany, Y4 Israel, taking all the X and the Y's put together, whatever that number is, and with that number, credit, finance, the World Central Global Bank, or the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon and the Phoenix, to issue a universal unit of exchange, preferably by biometrics, the hand, the voice, and the eye being unique biometrics identifiers, and that would be the initial credit. And then putting my theory, of course, of a 10% maximum interest on all loans, whether business loans, volunteer loans, educational loans, all loans, a maximum of 10%. Credit card, consumer loans, but once food, housing, and transport are secured for all, and then we can have the reset, rebuilding back better, as I've envisioned in my scenario. And my scenario had the solution. Let's work out some more for it. So debt refusion theory, put it into practice. Oh yeah. This barrel is between 42 and 50 pounds. So debt refusion theory, putting it into practice, taking all private and public debt, whatever the number is, and with that number credit the creation of the global central bank by biometrics, the hand, the voice, and the eye being unique biometrics, that's in parallel to a tangible currency. But once we have secured those three by the Dragan Army, and to be infused with all existing armies, and the rules to anybody willing to loving to be a dragon peacekeeper, as yours truly, the motto of the Dragan Army. Although you can be a supporter, a lover, support world peace, international justice, global freedom, securing and ensuring global freedom. Nobody is born a dragon, not even myself, with the surname Dragon. The RAGA turned it into an oath with blood, sweat, and tears, and thousands of push-ups, thousands of squats, thousands of hawks, millions of marching steps, or barefoot in my room house and temple, steel-toe boots in Hawk Island, or with the running shoes to turn, change, transform that A in my surname into an O. As Adrian H. Dragon died during COVID, so it took blood, sweat, and tears. 213 sessions of the General War Integrated Whole Body Training System down. If anybody willing to catch up. You got to do it. These are the rules. You got 93 minutes to do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks. That trinity. Push-ups, squats, hawks. You got to do 100. Once you start the countdown, 93 minutes and counting down. So you got 93 minutes to do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks. Maximum of 13 repetitions per set is allowed. Minimum 3. Anywhere in between, you can do 7, 6, 10. I've been doing 10. 10 times 10 is easy to get to 100. 10 times 10, you need to do 10 reps, 10 sets, right? 10 reps per set. 10 times 10 gets you to 100, but you can play around, do it differently each time until you get to 100. Maximum 13 per set. minimum 3. Keep those numbers in mind. 13 and 3, they go together, and you don't stop. Want to count down 93 minutes, you start it. Looking for volunteers to build the application. You gotta march, jog, walk, fast pace, minimum of 31 seconds in between each set, whether you do squats, push-ups, or hocks, in whatever order you do them until you do to get 100, and you can switch them around, do hocks, then squats, then push-ups, until you get to 100 each. There's no prescribed dictatorial regimented order. You need to do 100 for each, but you got those rules. 93 minutes, 13 max, 3 minimum, anywhere in between. Minimum 31 seconds. So 4 numbers and 4 rules to remember. 93 minutes, 13 and 3 for maximum and minimum. And of course the number 31. 93, 31, 13 and 3. Gonna get some coffee. And we're gonna get this rolling. Recommend 5 to 10 minutes warming up between. Warming up in between, I do recommend usually take about minimum 7 minutes to maximum 15, 13 minutes. Recommend about 10 minutes warm up before you start it. You can start doing push-ups right away, but you can only do maximum 13. Once you start the countdown, you can start doing hocks, push-ups, squats, maximum 13, and then in between each set, you gotta march, jog, walk, fast pace, run a minimum of 31 seconds. So it takes at least a half an hour to complete it within the rules. I'm averaging about 61 minutes, so about an hour average. I did 77 minutes once, and I prolonged it, and the lowest within the rules was 37 minutes and 49 seconds. So almost 38, almost 38, almost 30. More coffee. And now we're gonna work out some more. I'm gonna discuss about the dancing goddess army, my vision for it. Yeah. Ooh. Oh. Woo. Independent athlete, activist, artist. Yours truly, Adrian H. Dragan, born, being reborn with every lifting of this water barrel, with every sip of this black coffee, with every rant, every sunrise, sunset, midnight sun, star count, moon, gaze, light, with every second. Adrian Hana, Dragon, androgynous, pansexual, founder of the dancing goddess and the Dragon Empire. I don't want to go back to nothing pre-COVID. Died during COVID. Get vaccinated, get tested. I'm not perfect. Got issues, vices, lust. I admit I want to experience things I never experienced. I want to get some new clothes, new garments. Not that many. I want to get a pair of steel-toe boots, which I was never able to afford. It's $156. Black and red. Red being my favorite color in the Dragon Army's color. Green, the goddess, dancing goddess army. I got the best laces that my sister, friend, teacher, one I love and call sister. I haven't put them on any shoes, although got second-hand steel-toe black boots. I was gonna put them, maybe I'm still gonna put them on them, but maybe not. Anyways, they're the best laces ever got from my anonymous fourth dimension financial sponsor. He's rock. He's rock. Rock. He's fucking rock, man. Rock. Goddess Luna, goddess rainbow. Yeah, I like it sometimes stormy, yo, stormy, yo. Yeah, I admit it, I admit it, I admit it. They don't admit it, they be hiding, no, they been hiding, no. Feelings and emotions, yeah, we get triggered, don't we though, don't we though. Too much God and no goddess, I don't want none of it, yo, none of it, yo. Keep on wearing the crucifix. I don't want to say because it oh, got some self-censor. I understand it, yo, I understand it, yo. But that's okay, I owe nobody zero and the nada zero zilcho, zilcho. Poetry. I was the best poem tonight. In English. Perhaps a better poem in another language, but in English, November 8th, that was the best poem. Turning to rap, let's work out a bit with this barrel of water. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, yeah. Nice beginning to the Monday. So the Dancing Goddess Army, officially the International Integrated Dance League. Integrated that it will be an all gender, all ages, all inclusive. We can have special dances, organizers, special professional dancing, twerking, a lot of twerk, 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 twerk. I'm working on my twerking. I'm working on my twerking. I'm working on my twerking. Working on my twerking. Working on my twerking. Shit is not working. Shit is not working too well. I must get better. Will I not? Maybe not. Maybe I'll just let somebody pro. I'm not facing forward pistol. That's the for sure though. Yeah. Holy, sacred, divine dance art forms allowed. Consent, consent, consent. Can have cooperative, more cooperative competition. It's gonna be in contrast to the existing patriarchal sports leagues. Because they got competition. And they're multi-millionaire patriarchal sports leagues. We're gonna have cooperation. Have some level of competition, but cooperative competition for the greater good. For the greater good. For the greater good is Adrian Hunter, Dragon's dancing goddess, and Dragon Empire, and the Dragon Kingdom is one with the dancing goddess empire. Under the sun, on the moon, on earth. So the International Citizen Integrated Social Security Force, aka the Dragon Army, is a complementary covenant cooperative with the International Integrated Dance League, aka the Dancing Goddess Army, which I'm calling all to support, join in every way capacity they can the formation of these two complementary cooperative covenant institutions, and to absorb and integrate at all levels with all ALL existing private and public institutions, organizations for world peace, international justice, global freedom, securing global freedom, and attaining harmony between civilization and nature. Dance, 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 dance. Dance, dance, dance. What I gotta do? Start kissing, giving my allies&Armies a million kisses. From the goddess, yeah, goddess, G-O-D-D-S-S. What's the matter? What's the matter? What's the matter? What matter? What's the matter? What matter? A million kisses. That's a lot of kisses for each of my allies. I can give 93 trillion, not selfish. I admit, I'm not perfect. Don't say that I'm totally selfless or selfless. Maybe I got a bit of ego too. Got a crush a piece of dust. Don't you see the starlight count? Sunrise, sunsets. Now the sun's rising as it's 9:47 p.m. EST Hawk Island now. The Dancing Goddess Army to organize mass dancing events across the world for the mass cleaning of the oceans, rivers, waterways, lakes. Cleaning oceans, rivers, waterways, lakes, forests, attain harmony between civilization and nature, call mass financing the solar hydropower thereof, and clean the oceans, rivers, waterways, and encourage and educate environmental practices. So a dance league with a purpose, for pleasure and for purpose and pleasure and education and then the environment. Balance also. Patriarchal sports leagues, NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, MLB, Major League Baseball, right? NBA, National Basketball Association, make millions of dollars, man, since 1984. There's not even one women's sports leagues that makes even close to that. Not even one. Not even one. Not even one. Get out of here. You know that's true. That's true. And this, although it's going to be an integrated, because it's going to be cooperative dancing. Go dancing, we have organized different hours, and yours truly, priestess of the goddess, androgynous, no sense with the trees, like the leaves, dancing by the moon like leaves, dancing cleaves, dancing left and dancing right and on your knees, and with the clapping of the hands at midnight and the sunrise and the sunset and the whoop. Up in the circle, in the square, in the twerk up, in the hands, with the hair, with the shaved, with the whatever. Dance, dance, dance. Just dance. All genres of music. Purpose and pleasure. Let's turn together. Dance into the most powerful weapon for revolution, for love on earth, for attaining harmony between civilization and nature. To balance the patriarchal sports leagues and to welcome the goddess back into our temples, and the priestess and the irrational and the subconscious and the emotional to be balanced in harmony and equilibrium. Nature, civilization, and men and women and men, and androgynous, gender fluid, and LGBTQ. Yours truly is a universal revolutionary centrist. Now I'm gonna go do some of that reading. I'm gonna be reading Women in Space. Special reading session dedicated. I'm part of the continuing the 40-day new Rite, Purification, ReOrdering my room, house, and temple. I'm gonna do this one again here. I'm gonna work out this holy water. The rivers gotta be clean, the lakes gotta be clean, the ocean's mass finance. Selfish athletes, selfish artists, millionaires, CEOs, millionaires, billions. A billion is 1,000 million. There's no way if you got more than millions in banks that you don't finance the youth's sports, environment, food security. No way, man. No way. Ugh. Ooh. Ooh. There we go. I feel good. I feel sorry. Women in Space. From Wikipedia. Learning education on the news that yesterday I read in the news that an astronaut, a woman astronaut from China, became again a woman to conduct a spacewalk, and I'm gonna be reading about women in space from the Wikipedia article Women in Space. Ready, set, I'm gonna read, and it's gonna be an education session for myself as well as perhaps it will be for some. Perhaps it will be just on YouTube. Adrian Hanna Dragan's voice reading Passion and continuing the I Declare Revolution, a new 40-day Rite journey. Women in space have been present and active since the beginning of human spaceflight. Human spaceflight is a spaceflight with a crew of passengers aboard a spacecraft. And think that the spacecraft there is, if I'm not mistaken, gonna check, think it's the Dragan. The Dragan, think that it's the Dragan, gonna check the spaceflight. Yeah, in this illustration it's SpaceX. In this illustration, a SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft approaches the International Space Station for docking. NASA is partnering with Boeing and SpaceX to build a new generation of human-related spacecraft capable of taking astronauts to the station. So it is indeed Dragon spacecraft, Dragon Crew. So part of the human spacecraft series, which we'll read in November. Well, it is November 8th, so in the coming days. Maybe next session this week. Gonna be that's one to do also one on communism, since there's still a few countries which are communist, and I'm not a communist, I'm not a fascist, I'm a universal revolutionary centrist, androgynous pansexual founder of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Empire and the Dragon Kingdom and the Dancing Goddess Empire, one empire and kingdom under the earth and the sun on earth. Women in space have been present and active since the beginning of human spaceflight. Since then, a considerable number of women from a range of countries have worked in space. Though overall women are still significantly less often chosen to go to space than men, and represent by 2020 only 10% of all astronauts who have been to space since 2021. By October 2021, most of the 70 women, 70 women who have been to space have been United States citizens with missions on the space shuttle and on the International Space Station. Other countries have had one: United Kingdom, France, South Korea, Italy, or two: USSR, Canada. I'm a Canadian. I was born twice in past lives in the United States, but I'm a Canadian world citizen. Japan, Russia, China. Women citizens in space, taking part in missions of programs with human spaceflight capability. Additionally, one dual Iranian-US women citizen has participated as tourist on a US mission. Women face many of the same physical and psychological difficulties of space flight as men. Venturing into the environment of space can have negative effects on the human body. Significant adverse effects of long-term weightlessness include muscle atrophy and deterioration of the skeleton. Other significant effects include a slowing of cardiovascular system functioning. As men, scientific studies generally show no particular adverse effect from short space missions. It has even been concluded that women might be better suited for longer space missions. The main obstacle for women to go to space remains gender discrimination. Sexism is prejudice or discrimination based on one's own sex or gender. Sexism can affect anyone, but it primarily affects women and girls. It has been linked to stereotypes and gender roles, and may include the belief that one sex or gender is intrinsically superior to other. My sisters. Lovers. Gender discrimination. Picture of the record of 4 women in space at the same time from STS-131. STS-131 was a NASA space shuttle mission to the International Space Station ISS. Space shuttle Discovery launched on the 5th of April 2010. So there's a few pictures there, but we're going to go down a bit. I'm going to work out a bit, and we're going to continue reading. Ready? Yeah. That felt good. That felt good. Some more coffee. Overall history. Human space flight began in the late 1950s. Late 1950s. And early 1960s, and early research on possible crewed missions to space studied the expected effects of space on humans, also considered women. The research showed that women might even be suited better for space missions due to a range of reasons. And note 6, the first from the Smithsonian magazine, the first group of female cosmonauts were trained to conquer the final frontier in the competition between the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union, officially the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, was a socialist state that spanned Europe and Asia during its existence from 1922 to 1991. It was nominally a federal union of multiple national republics. In practice, its government and economy were highly centralized. USSR and the United States, known as the space race. The space race was a 20th century competition between two Cold War adversaries, the Soviet Union, USSR, and the United States of America, USA, to achieve superior spaceflight capability. It had its origins in the ballistic missile-based nuclear arms race between the two. Space race, both nations chose their first space pilots, known as cosmonauts in the USSR and astronauts in the US. An astronaut is a person trained, equipped, and developed by a human spaceflight program to serve as a commander or crew member aboard a spacecraft. Although generally reserved for professional space travelers, the terms are sometimes applied to anyone who travels into space. In the US, for their programs from the ranks of their military high-speed jet pilots, who were exclusively men. A test pilot is an aircraft pilot with additional training to fly and evaluate experimental, newly produced and modified aircraft with specific maneuvers known as flight test techniques, who are exclusively men. The first woman to fly to space. The first woman to fly to space became Valentina Tereshkova, aboard Vostok 6 on June 16, 1963. Wow. But neither the USSR did send another in the following 20 years, with Svetlana Savitskaya in 1982, the second woman, nor the US until 1983, with its first woman, Sally Ride. Wow, isn't that fascinating? So the Soviets, the first woman in space was a woman from the USSR, 20 years before the first woman in the US. I didn't know that. To be honest, I did not know that. I kind of knew that the USSR had a more advanced space program for a bit of history. For like 13 years they were more advanced, and then the US overtook them, I think, in terms of how many flights were sent total and satellites, up to 1989 or something, or 86 or 87, something like that. So let me work out a bit with this holy, sacred, divine water and make it fire, and we're gonna read about the first three women, of which two were from the Soviet Union. Oh, fuck. Oh, that felt good. So the first woman to fly to space became Valentina Tereshchova, and we're gonna read a bit about Valentina Tereshchova, who became the first woman in space in 1963. A very significant, important, and eventual year of big societal, political transformation, not just in North American civilization, but for that matter for the world. A few tragic events, but Kennedy assassination was, I think, November 22nd, 1963. Another events, but namely also overall more good and progress came out of 1963. A great eventful year. Valentina Vladimirova Tereshchova. Valentina Vladimirova Tereshchova. Valentina Vladimirova Tereshchova. Born March 6, 1937. Is a member of the Russian State Duma. She's a member of the Russian State Duma now. The State Duma, commonly abbreviated Russian Guduma, is the lower house of the Federal Assembly of Russia, while the upper house is the Council of the Federation. The Duma headquarters are located in central Moscow, a few steps on the Manege Square. Assumed office a while ago. She's been in office. So deputy of the State Duma, wow, from Vladimir Oblast. Yaroslavl Oblast, the federal subject of Russia, where it's located in Central Federal District, surrounded by Tver, Moscow, Yaroslavl, Vladimir, Kostrov, Volga Oblast. Engineer. Engineers are, as practitioners of engineering, are professionals who invent, design, analyze, build, and test machines, complex systems, structures, gadgets, and materials to fulfill functional objectives and requirements while considering the limitations imposed by practicality. Now, in a parallel life, yours truly, Adon H. Dragonborn, science, innovation, and technology would have been my parallel, is my path in that parallel life, in this life. Spirituality, psychology, sexuality, theory, philosophy, physicality, the irrational, emotional, artistic, even occult, esoteric, mystic side, are my chosen path in this life, in that parallel life, science, innovation, and technology, where satellites, computers, and ICBMs and micro gadgets are my universe in this life. Well, it's poetry, working out, training, exercising, meditation, psychology, spirituality, sexuality, physicality, philosophy, art, political theory, and history, and occult spirituality, mysticism is my chosen path in this one. As you can see, in that parallel life, science, innovation, and technology is my path in this life right here now. November 8, 8 p.m. EST is philosophy, sexuality, psychology, art, irrational, emotional, esoteric, occult, physical. It's my path. Maybe in the next 11 days I'll converge. And former cosmonaut. She's the first and youngest woman to have flown in space. And also the youngest woman to have flown in space. Wow. She's the first and youngest woman to have flown in space with a solo mission on the Vostok 6 on June 16, 1963. June 16, 1963. June 6, 1963. Wow. She orbited the Earth 48 times, spent almost 3 days in space, and remains the only woman to have been on a solo space mission. Wow, 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 wow. Before her selection for the Soviet space program, Tereshchova was a textile worker and an amateur skydiver. She joined the Air Force as part of the Cosmonaut Corps and was decommissioned as an officer after completing her training. After the dissolution, the first group of female cosmonauts in 1969, Tereshchova remained in the space program as a cosmonaut instructor. She later graduated from the Skovsky Air Force Engineering Academy and requalified for space flight, but never went to space again. She retired from the Air Force in 1997, having attained the rank of Major General. Major General is a military rank used in many countries. Tereshchova was a prominent member of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, holding various political offices, including being a member of the Presidium of the Supreme Soviet from 1974 to 1989. 1989. The Presidium of the Supreme Soviet was a body of state power in the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics in the USSR. The Presidium was elected by joint session of both houses of the Supreme Soviet to act on its behalf while the Supreme Soviet was not in session. Wow. Amazing. Vostok 6 capsule. It's on a capsule. Wow. Amazing. Just gonna take a quick look at the capsule. Looks roundish, very small. Wow. Fascinating. It's round, spherical, I would say like a sphere. Like a sphere. Spherical. So women in space, we continue. So the first woman in space was from the Soviet Union in 1963. Valentina Tereshchova. Let's work out for women in space. Ah, yes. I need a little bit of eating of this. $1.56 Canadian. $1.56. Tuna salad, my last tuna can. Used it 87 cents. 3 scoops of mayo, it's about 20 cents. And the cracker packs, this is also about 30 cents. So about estimate, I did the calculation last time, it came out to $1.56. With somebody matching that, I'm getting a $1.56 donation via PayPal. Commission to make a video, workout, dance, reading, whatever it is. I'm grateful for this food, to nourish my body, to heal, to work out, to write poetry, songs, to love, to give love, to receive love, that I can do a lot of business of loving. More coffee. Alright. And more coffee. Gonna wipe off the fingers a bit, although it's got the fork. Grateful for the coffee, the food, this barrel of water to work out with. It's clean energy. Though living in the worst financial crisis of my adult life, I'm open for business. Primarily world peace, international justice, global freedom, and so the first woman to fly to space became Valentina Tereshkova aboard Vostok 6 on June 16, 1963. But neither the USSR did send another in the following 20 years, wow, until Svetlana Savitskaya in 1982. Svetlana Savitskaya. I'll work out a bit before reading about Savitskaya. This holy barrel of water. Oh yeah. Svetlana Savitskaya. Svetlana Eugenia Savitskaya. Born 8th of August 1948. Leo. Is a Russian former aviator and Soviet cosmonaut who flew aboard Soyuz T-7 in 1982. Soyuz T-7 was the third Soviet space mission to the Soyuz space station. Crew member Svetlana Savitskaya was the first woman in space in almost 20 years. Almost 20 years, wow. A long time to send anyone into space. In almost 20 years, since Valentina Tereshkova, who flew in 1963 on the Vostok 6 in 1982, becoming the second woman in space. So nobody besides the Soviet Union had sent yet a woman in space. So she was the second woman in space, also from the Soviet Union. On her 1984 Soyuz T-12 mission, she became the first woman to fly to space twice and the first woman to perform a spacewalk. Wow, the first, but she's The second woman in space, but the first woman to perform a spacewalk. So a spacewalk, extravehicular activity. EVA is any activity done by an astronaut or cosmonaut outside a spacecraft beyond the Earth's appreciable atmosphere. The term most commonly applies to a spacewalk made outside a craft orbiting Earth. On March 18, 1965, Alexei Leonov became the first human to perform a spacewalk, exiting the capsule during the Volkshock 2 mission for 12 minutes and 9 seconds. The term also applied to lunar as in the moon, space exploration, commonly known as moonwalks, performed by 6 pairs of American astronauts in the Apollo program from 1969 to 1972. On July 20, 1969, Neil Armstrong became the first human to perform a moonwalk. In 1984, using manned maneuvering unit and a test flight in 1994. Wow. She was the first woman to perform a spacewalk. In 1984, aboard the Soyuz T-12 was the 7th crewed spaceflight to the Soviet space station Salyut 7. The name Soyuz T-12 is also the name of the spacecraft used to launch the land the mission's 3-person crew. The mission occurred in July 1984. She set several FAA world records as a pilot. FAA is Fédération Aéronautique Internationale, the International Aviation. The Fédération Aéronautique Internationale, FAI, is the world governing body for air sports. Set several records as a pilot. Wow. First woman to perform the spacewalk, second woman in space. In 1982, she went to space. In 1984, she went to space again and completed the first woman to do the spacewalk. Nor the US until in 1983 with its first woman, Sally Ride. I'm gonna work out a bit here. Let's work out. Sally Kristen Ride, was an American astronaut and physicist. Born in Los Angeles, she joined NASA in 1978. And in 1983, she became the first woman, American woman, not the first woman. First woman was in the Soviet Union, the USSR. 1983 became the first woman in space. She was the third woman in space overall, after USSR cosmonauts Valentina Tereshkova in 1963 and Svetlana Savetsova in 1982. Ride remained the youngest American astronaut to have traveled to space, having done so at age 32, until 2021 when Haley Arsenault on the private spacecraft Inspiration on September 16. Flew on SpaceX Inspiration 4 mission at the age of 29. After flying twice on the Orbiter Challenge, she left NASA in 1987. Space Shuttle Challenger OV-099 was a space shuttle orbiter manufactured by Rockwell International and operated by NASA, named after the commanding ship of a 19th century scientific expedition that traveled the world. Challenger was the second space shuttle orbiter to fly into space. Rite worked for 2 years at Stanford's University Center for International Security and Arms Control, then the University of California, San Diego, primarily researching nonlinear optics and Thomson scattering. She served on the committees that investigating the Challenger and Columbia space shuttle disasters, the only person to participate in both. Having been married to astronaut Stephen Allen Hawley during her space flight years and in a private, long-term relationship with former Women's Tennis Association player Tom Elizabeth O'Shaughnessy. In her years after, she is the earliest space traveler. She is the in the her years after she is the earliest space traveler to have been recognized as LGBT. So I wonder now if she's, being myself a member of the LGBTQ community, if she's the first LGBTQ, I would assume, unless they were not open, right? I mean, the cosmonauts, astronauts who were men were, some of them were perhaps bisexual or gay, but were not open, right? Maybe she's the first, she's the third woman in 1983, maybe she's the first LGBTQ. I wonder now. Check that, whoever made it this far. Not that anybody watches my video, but check that. So we continue. So Sally Ride. Ever since this set of women, a range of women have been to space, particularly with the US space program, starting with Ride's NASA Astronaut Group 8. Despite this, women still represent only about 10% of all people who have gone to space, being less chosen and enabled. Interesting. What's paradoxical almost is that some studies by men concluded that, at least if I guess they were honest, that women are more suited for XYZ reasons to go to space, right? Interesting. Since all astronauts who have gone to the moon were men, there's a woman to go as the first astronaut to return to the moon, a goal that the US Artemis program is pursuing. Artemis, love it, like the goddess, the moon, Artemis, right? Let's work out some more for the goddess and our sisters, our friends, our lovers. See, it's full. See, it's full of water. More than 42 pounds, between 42 minimum. And 50 maximum. Soviet Union, USSR. The US Director of Cosmonaut Training Nikolai Kamamin started in 1961 to lobby for having women as cosmonauts after inspired by repeated questions by the press about women as cosmonauts. Nikolai Petrovich Kamanin, Kamanin, was a Soviet aviator awarded the title of Hero of the Soviet Union 1934. The rescue of his crews from an improvised airfield on a frozen surface by women as cosmonauts. Subsequently, Kamanin crucially gained space program leader Sergei Korolev as a supporter, getting approval 6 months later for women cosmonauts. During a visit to the US in 1962, Kamanin got to know Jerry Cobb. Jerry Cobb, commonly known as Jerry Cobb, was an American aviator of the then rejected Mercury 13. The Mercury 13 were 13 American women who, as part of a privately funded program, successfully underwent the same physiological screening tests as had the astronauts selected by NASA on April 9, 1959 for Project Mercury. Her being consultant to the NASA space program since 1961 and testifying in July 1962 at Congress about the positive results of Mercury 13 and on gender discrimination. At one point, Kamamin noted in his diary, "We cannot allow that the first woman in space will be American. This would be an insult to the patriotic feelings of Soviet women. To increase the odds of sending a Soviet woman into space first, the women cosmonauts began their training before the men." Interesting. Valentina Tereshkova was the only one of the 5 to fly into space in Vostok 6 in June 1963 with Irina Solovyova as her first backup. Kamanin framed her as Gagarin in a skirt, and Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev was happy with the propaganda potential of her selection, since she was the daughter of a collective farm worker who died in the Winter War, and confirmed her selection. 5 months after her flight, Tereshkova married Vostok 3 cosmonaut Andrian Nikolaev on November 3rd, 1963. November 3rd, 1963, at the Moscow Wedding Palace, with Khrushchev presiding over the wedding party together with top government and space program leaders. Kamanin described the marriage as probably useful for politics and science. On 8th of June 1964, nearly 1 year after her space flight, she gave birth to their daughter Elena Andrianova Nikolaevna Tereshkova, the first person with both a mother and a father who had traveled into space. Wow, that's fascinating. Kamanin hoped to fly 2 other women on the Vostok 3 and 4 flights, but these were cancelled in 1965, leaving the women with Soviet Air Force officer commissions. In 1978, Tereshkova and Tatiana Kursova pushed for a new cosmonaut program for women, but only in 1980 did the USSR start a second training of women cosmonauts. Wow. Sending the world's second woman, Svetlana Savitskaya, in 1982 to space on the Soyuz T-7. Subsequently, she also became the first woman to fly to space twice, on the Soyuz T-12 mission on July 25th, 1984. July 25th, 1984. July 85th, 1984. And the first woman to walk in space. Extravehicular activity, EVA, outside the Salyut 7 space station on that mission. After the first 12 US women, the third and last woman launched by the USSR was Helen Sharman. The third and last. woman launched by the USSR was Helen Sharman in 1991, the first woman from Western Europe and the first who went to Space Station Mir. She's the first Helen Patricia Sharman is a British chemist and astronaut who became the first British person, first Western European woman, and first privately funded woman in space, as well as the first woman to visit the Mir space station. Mir was a space station that operated in low Earth orbit from 1986 to 2001. Operated by the Soviet Union and later by Russia, Mir was the first modular space station. Interesting. Soviet Union launched the first modular space station. Mir was the first modular space station and was assembled in orbit from 1986 to 1996. Well, I've read National Geographic, I think, from the 80s, that the Soviet Union was more advanced in space exploration than the US up to 89 or something. Then things changed after the Berlin Wall and the dissolution of the USSR. She's the first and only United Kingdom woman citizen to date, making the United Kingdom the first of two countries, the other being South Korea, to have a woman as its first person to go to space. Although she was not sent by the United Kingdom government, since she was privately funded by Project Juno. Project Juno was a privately funded campaign which selected her mission to be the first Briton in space, the second person and first woman to be funded privately to go to space. And now the United States, and we're gonna work out some more with the barrel of water. Wow. Oh yeah. Okay. United States. I need some calories. Build muscle. United States. In 1959, a group of 13 female pilots, US pilots, dubbed the American press as the Mercury 13, wanted the chance to become astronauts and took, supervised by NASA staff, the same medical tests as the men, performing the same and even better, funded privately, each by aviation pioneer Jacqueline Cochran. It was Jacqueline Cochran. Jacqueline Cochran was an American pilot and business executive. She pioneered women's aviation. It was no government program, and the idea of female astronauts faced a great deal of resistance in the US government, military command, and NASA, leaving these women no chance of becoming astronauts. Though Jerry Cobb of the Mercury 13 became consultant to the NASA space program in 1961, and testifying in July 1962 at Congress about the positive results of Mercury 13 and on gender discrimination. By 1976, It was decided that the NASA astronaut Group 8 would include women and persons of minorities. Actor Nichelle Nichols, who played Nyora Uhura in the Star Trek franchise, had been using her public standing to speak for women and people of color and against their exclusion from the human space program of the US. Subsequently, NASA reacted by employing her to assist in finding candidates for Group 8 in its future space shuttle program. Nichols successfully recruited the first people of color and women into the US space program. One of the recruits was mission specialist Sally Ride, who in 1983 became the first US woman to fly in space in the 7th Space Shuttle mission and the third woman to fly in space. Since then, more than 50 of the several hundred American astronauts who have entered space have been women. Most served on the various space shuttle flights from 1983 to 2011. Judith Resnick was the second American woman in space and the fourth woman overall in space. Judith Arlene Resnick. Judith Arlene Resnick was an American electrical engineer, software engineer, biomedical engineer, pilot, and NASA astronaut who died aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger when it was destroyed during the launch of mission STS-51L. Resnick was the second American woman in space and the fourth woman in space worldwide, logging 145 hours in orbit. She was the first Jewish woman of any nationality in space. She was the first Jewish woman of any nationality in space. She was the first Jewish woman of any nationality in space. Wow. Fascinating. Fascinating. The first U.S. woman to perform extravehicular activity was Catherine D. Sullivan, is an American geologist and a former NASA astronaut. A crew member on 3 space shuttle missions, she was the first American woman to walk in space on October 11, 1984, which launched on October 11, 1984. Mae Jemison became the first woman of color in space in 1992. Mae Carol Jameson, born October 17, 1956, is an American engineer, physician, and former NASA astronaut. She became the first black woman to travel into space when she served as a mission specialist aboard a space shuttle Endeavour. Wow, cool. Jensen joined NASA's astronaut corps in 1987 and was selected to serve for the STS-47 mission, during which she orbited the Earth for nearly 8 days on September 12 to 20th, 1992. Born in Alabama and raised in Chicago, Jameson graduated from Stanford University with degrees in chemical engineering as well as African and African American studies. She then earned her medical degree from Cornell University. Jameson was a doctor for the Peace Corps in Liberia and Sierra Leone from 1983 until 1985 and worked as a general practitioner. Jameson left NASA in 1993 and founded a technology research company. She later formed a non-profit educational foundation, and through the foundation is the principal of the 100-Year Starship project funded by DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. DARPA is a research and development agency of the United States Department of Defense responsible for the development of emerging technologies for use by the military. Wow. Mae Jemison. A coffee. Workout. And $1.56 Canadian at dinner. Mae Jemison became the first woman of color in space in 1992. The first woman to pilot the space shuttle was Eileen Collins, who piloted Discovery on STS-36 in 1995. Eileen Marie Collins is a retired NASA astronaut and United States Air Force colonel. C-O-L-O-N-E-L, colonel, rank within the Army, who piloted Discovery on STS-36 in 1995 and Atlantis on STS-84 and became the first female shuttle commander on STS-93. STS-93 in 1999 marked the 95th launch of the space shuttle. The first woman on an ISS expedition crew was Suzanne Helms. Jane Helms is a retired United States Air Force Lieutenant General and NASA astronaut. She was the Commander 14th Air Force and Commander Joint Functional Component Command for Space at Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. Suzanne Jane Helms on Expedition 2. Expedition 2 was the second long-duration space flight aboard the International Space Station immediately following Expedition 1. Its three-person crew stayed aboard the station from March to August 2001, which lasted from March 2001 until August 2001. In 2007, Peggy Whitson. Peggy Whitson is an American biochemistry researcher, retired NASA astronaut, and former NASA chief astronaut. Became the first woman to command 2007 the International Space Station ISS. 2013 NASA astronaut Group 21 was the first astronaut class with an equal amount of women, with the subsequent and current Group 22 having a lower number again. On October 18, 2019, that's just the day after I've started my General War Integrated Whole Body Training System, the first session of which performed 213 sessions so far. On October 18, 2019, the first all-female spacewalk was conducted by Jessica Meir and Christina Koch. Jessica Ulrich Meir is an American NASA astronaut, marine biologist, and physiologist. Christina Koch. Christina Hancock Cox, K-O-C-H, is an American engineer and NASA astronaut of the class 2013. She received Bachelor of Science degrees in Electrical Engineering and Physics and the Master of Science in Electrical Engineering from North Carolina State University. On October 18, 2019, the first all-female spacewalk was conducted. Just a day after I've done my General War Integrated Whole Body Training System, interestingly enough. Only 12 humans, all men, have ever walked on the moon. All human moon missions were part of the U.S. Apollo space program between 1969 and 1972. No woman has ever walked on the moon. I disagree. I think my sister, friend, teacher walks on the moon all the time. In 2020, NASA anonymous. In 2020, NASA's communication director reported that NASA planned to land astronauts on the moon, including possibly a woman astronaut or astronauts, as part of the U.S. Artemis Program. Of the 18 candidates in the Artemis Program, it's named after the goddess, I'm assuming, I'm going to read on it, are women. Nicole Onupaman, Kayla Barron, Christina Koch, Kate Rubins, Stephanie Wilson, Jessica Meir, Jasmine, Mark Belly, Ann McLean, and Jessica Watkins. In addition to U.S. citizens, U.S. rockets have launched international astronauts. Roberta Bondar, 1992, Juliette Payet, 1999-2009 from Canada, as well as Chaiki Mukai, 94-98, and now Naoko Yamazaki in 2010 of Japan flew as part of the US space program. Let's work out a bit with this barrel and read a bit about the Artemis program. Artemis program is a United States-led international human spaceflight program. Its primary goal is to return humans to the moon, specifically the lunar South Pole. Lunar South Pole is of special interest to scientists because of the occurrence of water ice in permanently shadowed areas around it. If successful, it will include the first crewed lunar landing mission since Apollo 17 in 1972, the last lunar flight of the Apollo program. Apollo 17 was the first moon landing mission of NASA's Apollo program and remains the most recent time humans have traveled beyond low Earth orbit, and also the most recent time humans have set foot on the moon. Its crew consists of Commander Eugene Cernan, Lunar Module Pilot Harrison Schmitt, and Command Module Pilot Ronald Evans, and it carried a biological experiment containing 5 mice. Mission duration 12 days, 13 hours, 51 minutes, and 59 seconds. Could have rounded those 59 seconds to a minute. Interesting that since 1972, no human being has went to the moon again. So 72, that's quite a while. So the Apollo ran from 1968 to 72, a few years, and interesting. The Artemis program began in December 2017 as the reorganization and continuation of successive efforts to revitalize the US space program since 2009. Its stated short-term goal is landing the first woman on the moon. Mid-term objectives include establishing an international expedition team and a sustainable human presence on the moon. Long-term objectives are laying the foundation for the extraction of lunar resources and eventually make crewed missions to Mars and beyond feasible. The Artemis program is carried out predominantly by NASA and US commercial space flight contractors. Private space flight, basically. And when I click on the private space flight, you get the picture. I'm getting a picture of the Dragan spacecraft in partnership with the European Space Agency and the space agencies of several other nations. Other countries have been invited to join the program through signing the governing Artemis Accords, are an international agreement between governments participating in the Artemis program, an American-led effort to return humans to the moon by 2024, which remains open for signature since October 2020. Go Artemis, go, go Artemis, go, go Artemis, go. Could make a song, poetry. What can Adrian Dragan do? Hug, kiss, massage, wash, write poetry, do a dance, Artemis dance. Artemis, I'm trying to find out if it was actually named after the goddess. Because there was a goddess named Artemis, right? to see if there's any mention of it. On March 27, March 2020, March 27, SpaceX revealed that the Dragan XL, SpaceX Dragan, also known as Dragan 1 or Cargo Dragon, was a class of partially reusable cargo spacecraft developed by SpaceX. The Artemis 1 is a planned uncrewed test flight to launch no earlier than February 2022. I'm assuming it was named after the goddess, but trying to find something actual about it, if you will. I'm assuming Artemis. The Artemis program incorporates several major components of previous canceled NASA programs and missions. Interesting. Including the Constellation program. Naming, oh there we go, naming as Artemis. On May 14th of May 2019, NASA Administrator James Frederick Brinstein, announced that the new program would be named Artemis. Who is both the twin sister of Apollo Apollo, because the first mission to the moon was Apollo. It's one of the Olympian deities in classical Greek and Roman religion and Greek and Roman mythology. The national divinity of the Greeks, Apollo has been recognized as a god of archery, music, dance, truth and prophecy, healing and diseases, the sun and light. Diseases also, I didn't know archery, music and dance. I knew sun, light, but not Apollo's, the original one. One of the most important and god of archery, music, dance, truth and prophecy, healing and diseases, the sun and light, poetry and more. One of the most important and complex of the Greek gods and twin brother of Artemis. So it is named after Artemis, the goddess, the twin sister of Apollo. Artemis is the Greek goddess of the hunt, the wilderness, wild animals, the moon. The goddess Diana is her Roman equivalent. Artemis is the daughter of Zeus and Leto and twin sister of Apollo. She was the patron and protector of young children and women and was believed to bring both disease upon women and children and relieve them of it. Artemis was worshipped as one of the primary goddesses of childbirth. Artemis was one of the most widely venerated of the ancient Greek deities, and her temple at Ephesus was one of the seven wonders of the world. Was Temple of Artemis, so known as Temple of Diana, the goddess Artemis dedicated. It was completely rebuilt twice, once after a devastating flood and 300 years later after an act of arson. So one by water, one by fire. One of the seven wonders of the ancient world. In the 7th century BC, it was destroyed by a flood. Its reconstruction in more grandiose form began around 550 before the Common Era, so more than 2,500 years ago, more than 2,500 years ago, under Cherstebon, the Cretan architect, and his son Metagenes. The project was funded by Colossus of Lydia. Colossus was the king of Lydia. And took 10 years to complete. This version of the temple was destroyed in 356 BC by Herostratus in an act of arson. The next greatest and last form of the temple, funded by the Ephesians themselves, is described in Antipater known as the list 7 wonders of the world. Wow. I have set eyes on the wall of lofty Babylon, on which is a road for chariots, and the statue of Zeus by the Alpheus, and the hanging gardens, and the Colossus of the sun. The Colossus of Rhodes was a statue of the Greek sun god Helios, erected in the city of Rhodes on the Greek island of the same name by Charles of Linus in 280 before the Common Era, one of the seven wonders of the ancient world. And the huge labor of the high pyramids. The Egyptian pyramids are ancient masonry structures located in Egypt. I was there in past lives, in ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, ancient Greek. Was a priestess, also the goddess, chased out by beauty. And the vast tomb of Mausolus. The mausoleum. But when I saw the house of Artemis, the house of Artemis that mounted to the clouds, those other marvels lost their brilliancy. And I said, Lo, apart from Olympus, the sun never looked on aught so grand. Lo, apart from Olympus, the sun never looked on aught so grand. Lo, apart from Olympus, the sun never looked on aught so grand. Wow. Not so grand. And with that, we're gonna turn. So go Artemis go, yes. I love that, love it, love it. So Apollo, Greek more masculine deity associated with the sun, last to be on the moon, and now Artemis, named after a goddess. I'm with it. I'm willing to do a workout, massage, kiss the workers on the Artemis. Give them massages, kisses, cook for them, entertain. Yeah, that's what I'm offering. Name of the goddess. Yes. Go Artemis go. I like that. It's the name of the goddess. Many names. She dances with a bird of the sun. She was dancing then to make, create, and produce all fruits, legumes, and vegetables to build the temples and the roads, and for us now to build, maintain, or upgrade civilization. And she will dance after eating on a dragon. It goes up and down and left and north and south and round about. Dance in my name. Love. Get dirty but get back clean in water. Rivers wash. Heat, love. Cook, dance, read history. And upgrade civilization and love, love, love. The US Artemis Program. I'm willing to, from those 93 trillions of kisses, I'm making a donation of $77 million of kisses free given to all involved in the Artemis program from those trillions of kisses. There you go. It's a lot of kisses. Of the 18 candidates in the Artemis program, 9 are women. Russian Federation. The human spaceflight program of the Russian Federation, called Roscosmos, is the successor to the Soviet program, since dissolution of the Soviet Union officially started in '89, November, but it officially ended in 1991. Perestroika and the signing in December 25th, 1991 officially. But it started before 2 years. And has so far hosted 2 women. Still chosen as cosmonaut during Soviet times, Yelena Vikondova became in 1994 the first woman cosmonaut for the Russian Federation, and the first woman to travel for both the Soyuz program and on the space shuttle. 20 years later, Yelena Serova became the second of the Russian Federation and first Russian woman cosmonaut to visit the International Space Station on September 26, 2014. Russia's only current woman cosmonaut, Anna Kikina. Anna Yurgea Kikina is a Russian engineer and test cosmonaut selected in 1212. Was admitted to the Russian Cosmonaut Corps in 1212. In 2019, Roscosmos announced changes to their spacesuits to accommodate women, and announced in 2020 that Kikina was selected for a flight to the ISS, International Space Station, in 2022. The Russian space program has also hosted international cosmonauts: Claude Higuier from France, 1996 and 2001, and Anus Ansari from Iran, 2006. Yi Seoko of South Korea, 2008, and Samantha Crisforetti from Italy. Canada, which is right here, Hawk Island, Montreal. First, we're going to go into Canada, just work out a bit. This barrel of water. Oh, gonna need some more coffee for this one. Oh, yeah. Yeah. What time is it now? 11:16 p.m. Oh, we got 16 more minutes left. Let's rock and roll. 15 minutes. Let's get a little bit of this. Canada. Canada. Roberta Bondar was the first Canadian woman in space, and the second Canadian. She flew on the Space Shuttle Discovery in January 1992. Roberta Bondar was the first Canadian woman in space. Roberta Bondar is Canada's first female astronaut and the first neurologist in space. After more than a decade as head of an international space medicine research team collaborating with NASA, Bondar became a consultant and speaker in the business scientific. Wow. Roberta Bondar. Another Canadian woman astronaut is Julie Payette from Montreal. Julie Payette, born October 20th, 1963, is a Canadian engineer, scientist, and former astronaut. Engineering degrees from McGill University, University of Toronto. Julie Payette is the second Canadian woman in space. From Montreal, or Hawk Island, Montreal, where you studied in Hana Dragan is. Payette was part of the crew STS-96. It's a space shuttle mission to the International Space Station ISS flown by Space Shuttle Discovery. On the Space Shuttle Discovery from May 26 to June 6, 1999. During the mission, the crew performed the first manual docking of the shuttle to the International Space Station and delivered 4 tons of logistics and supplies to the station. 4 tons. That's a lot in terms of space. A ton is 1,000 kilos. So, wow. So this is being between 42 pounds and 50 pounds. I'm referring to this barrel of water. So it's like hundreds of barrels, if not thousands of barrels of this, like this one, delivered. This workout. Whoa. Ah, yes. Oh, wow. Oh. Oh. Oh, fuck. Oh. Oh. 4 tons of logistics and supplies to the station. On Endeavour in 2009 for STS-127, Payette served as mission specialist. Her main responsibility was to operate the Canadarm, robotic arm from the space station. The Canadarm-1 is a series of robotic arms that were used for the space shuttle orbiters to deploy, maneuver, and capture payloads. After the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster, the Canadarm was always paired with the orbiter boom sensor system. Payette was sworn in as the 29th Governor General of Canada on October 2nd, 2017. In July 2017, Dr. Jennifer Cedar Gibbons was selected by the Canadian Space Agency to receive astronaut training at Johnson Space Center. She completed a 2-year astronaut candidate training program and obtained the official title of astronaut in January 2020. Wow. Interesting. Japan. In 1985, Jackie Mukai was selected as one of the 3 Japanese payload specialist candidates for the first material processing test Space Life J that flew aboard STS-47 in 1991. She also served as a backup payload specialist for the Neural Lab STS-90 mission. Mikoi has logged over 566 hours in space. She flew aboard STS-65 in 1994 and STS-95 in 1998. She's the first Japanese and Asian woman to fly in space and the first Japanese citizen to fly twice. Naoko Yamakaze became the second Japanese woman to fly into space with her launch on April 5, 2010. Yamakaze entered space on the shuttle Discovery as part of the mission STS-131. She returned to Earth on April 20th of April 2010. Yamakaze worked on ISS hardware development projects in the 1990s. She is an aerospace engineer and also holds a master's degree in that field. She was selected for astronaut training in 1999 and was certified by 2001. She was a mission specialist on her 2010 space shuttle flight and spent 362 hours in space. Yamazaki worked on robotics and transitioned through the reorganization of Japanese spaceflight organization in 2003 when NASDA, National Space Development Agency. NASDA was a Japanese national space agency established on October 1st, 1969, under the National Space Development Agency only for peaceful purposes. Merged with the ESIS, Institute of Space and Aeronautical Science, is a Japanese national research organization of astrophysics using rockets, astronomical satellites, and interplanetary probes, which played a major role in Japan's space development. And NAL, National Aerospace Laboratory of Japan. The National Aerospace Laboratory of Japan, NAL, was established in July 1955. Originally as the National Aeronautical Laboratory, it assumed its present name with the addition of the Aerospace Division in 1963. The new organization was called JAXA, Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency. Wow. European Space Agency. The first Western European woman and British citizen flying to space was Helen Sharman in 1991, but she was not sent by a state-funded human space flight program but as privately funded space flight participant of the Project Juno on a Soviet mission. Interesting, eh? Fascinating. The first Western European and French woman sent by a state space agency, CNAS, Centre National for Space Studies, is the French government space agency, and ESA, European Space Agency, is an intergovernmental organization of 22 member states dedicated to the exploration of space. Established in 1975 and headquartered in Paris, was Claudie Egner in 1996. Claudie André Egner is a French doctor, politician, and former astronaut with the Centre National d'Études Spatiales. Wow. In 1996. Since then, the only other women sent by a European agency, ASI, Italian Space Agency, and ESA has been Samantha Cristoforetti in 2014, 18 years after Egner. Wow. Cristoforetti is the first Italian woman going to space. Wow. 2022 European Space Agency Astronaut Group. 2022 European Space Agency Astronaut Group is a forthcoming selection of 4 to 6 new members of the European Astronaut Corps. It was the 4th European Space Agency recruitment campaign and the first since 2008. Has invited particularly women, and in the first case in human space flight, people with disability, para-astronauts, to apply for the group. Wow. Fascinating. China. In 2012, the Chinese space program. The space program of the People's Republic of China is directed by the China National Space Administration, CNSA. Its technological roots can be traced back to the late 1950s. when China began a ballistic missile program, ICBM, ballistic missile program, in response to perceived American threats. Wow. China's first female astronaut candidates, chosen in 2010 from the ranks of fighter pilots who were required to be married mothers. The Chinese stated that married women were more physically and psychologically mature, and that the rule that they had it's twice had there, HAD, my initial, I guess, have had children were because of concerns that space flight would harm their reproductive organs, including unreleased ova. The unknown nature of the effects of space flight on women was also noted. However, the director of China Astronaut Center has stated that marriage is a preference but not a strict limitation. Part of why they were so strict was because it was their first astronaut selection and they were trying to be extra cautious. China's first woman astronaut, Liu Yang, was married but had no children at the time of her flight in June 2012. Liu Yang is a Chinese military pilot and astronaut who served as a crew member on the space mission Shenzhou 9. On June 16, 2012, Liu became the first Chinese woman in space. Wang Yaping, senior colonel, colonel, is in a officer rank. Wang Yaping became the second Chinese female astronaut as a member of the Shenzhou 10 spaceship crew, which orbited the Earth in June 13 on the Tiangong 1 orbiting space station with which it docked. Tiangong 1 was China's first prototype space station. It orbited Earth from September 2011 to April 2018, serving as both a crude laboratory and an experimental testbed to demonstrate orbital rendezvous and docking capabilities during its 2 years of active operational life, with which it docked. Wang Yanping, the second Chinese woman in space and the first Chinese woman to perform a spacewalk. Also, wow. Yeah, that was in the news about Wang Yanping yesterday, which I've read and wanted to read about women in space today, which I did. Let's work out a bit. Think about the last workouts here.